Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today I'm going to share this process video of painting a very loose still life using watercolor. I'm working in a sketchbook that was made by my friend Rosie. She has an Etsy shop and I will link it down below in case you want to get one of these sketchbooks too. I am using Shinhan watercolors, the PWC line, which you can use whatever brand you like. And the paint, the palette that my paints are in is from Sean's 3D printing on Etsy. So man, representing the independent sellers. I love it. So basically what I did, and I completely forgot to record it, was I just did a really loose sketch of this still life with watermelon that I found on Unsplash, and I think it was by Gareth Paul, but I will try to find that and link it down below as well. And I'm using a variety of reds, and I'm also putting in a little bit of yellow ochre into the watermelon flesh to kind of warm it up and give it a little bit more realism. And then I am putting in some yellow flower centers for the daisies that are in the bouquet. So that's what those random yellow dots in the top of the picture are. I'm using some sap green. It's such a pretty color. And I'm doing the watermelon rinds, and the brush I'm using is from the set that I have with Craft Ammo, and the color of the handle is different because this was one of my prototype sets, and I actually painted this a while back before my brushes came, the final version with the red handles came. So that's why the handles are a different color. I had originally sketched on with a col erase pencil. I really love using those for sketching under watercolor and markers. So if you've never tried them or any other erasable colored pencil, I highly recommend them because you can still erase your lines, but I find that like the lines you do draw just kind of disappear into the painting, so it doesn't even look like you sketched. So it's almost like a no line effect. If you like to have lines, then go ahead and use a pencil. That's fine too. It's completely up to you. And here I am mixing up a nice dark. I'm using a variety of blues and browns here, mostly ultramarine blue and burnt umber. And sorry, my hand's in the way there. But I'm painting around these white daisies so that they'll pop against the background. So this technique is called negative painting. When you paint on you paint around the object so the object will show up. And honestly, I was just playing around. I wanted to see how these paints handled. I think this is the first time I used these, was for this demo piece here. And I was having a ball. It was so much fun. I wasn't even sure if I was gonna like edit this or anything. I just turned the camera on because I figured, why not? I'm painting, maybe something good will come of it. And I really love how this came out. This took me under 20 minutes to paint in real time. I did speed it up a little bit here. The brush I'm using is the cat's tongue brush from my my collaboration set with Craft Ammo, and it is such a really handy brush because you can do details and you can do broad washes and all of that. I love it when it works out that I'm just kind of painting loosely and just free and not really worrying about the outcome. I love it when things actually do turn out pretty well. I was just trying to get a feel for these paints. I really didn't have any preconceived ideas about how this was going to come out. I just wanted to see how the paints moved and, you know, how they layered up, and I just wanted to have a really fun time with the paints, and I did, and that's really good. That's really good enough. But the fact that I liked the way the painting came out was good too. Now here I am doing this kind of gingham pattern on the tablecloth. I put my shadows down first because if I put the shadows on top, I was afraid that I would disturb too much of the pattern underneath. These paints do glaze really well, but I'm using an ultramarine blue, and ultramarine blue is a very liftable color, so doing that on top of the shadows actually works out a little bit. So if you're in that situation where you've got like a tablecloth or something where you're going to have a cast shadow over a really patterned object, and you're working in a transparent medium such as watercolors or alcohol markers, putting the shadows down first and then putting the pattern on top works really well. Since it's transparent, you're going to see through that. You're going to see through both of them. So it doesn't really matter if you do the pattern on top, and that way you won't get fuzzy edges. So that will work great with markers or watercolors. And I'm adding a little bit of purple into the white daisies to give it a little bit of shadow. And it's also a nice complement to the yellow centers. So it kind of serves two purposes. It gives us a beautiful colored shadow and gives us contrast. Going in with some darker pinks, I'm just layering it up on the watermelon to kind of build that icy texture. Another fun way to build watermelon texture is to put saran wrap in your wet wash and let it dry. And that gives you like the ideal watermelon texture, that icy crispy goodness. But this works pretty well too. And I'm adding a little bit of a darker green to build up the pattern on the watermelon rind. And man, I mean, it was effortless. This painting was effortless. These paints were a dream to work with. I just can't, I don't know what it is about these paints. I just had such a good time with them, such an easy time with them. And, I mean, they might be I don't want to say ideal paints, but I just really like them. I wish that, that I had a local store that carried them. Blick carries them open stock, but not all the colors. So maybe they'll expand. I hope they do. Maybe they'll get so popular that they expand. This is the Shinhan PWC watercolors. They have another line that they call professional, but it's actually like a student grade paint, which isn't bad, but it's not as good as this. But these, man, I don't know what it is about these paints, but I just really get on well with them. And I love that they're a bargain. I mean, in the set that I got, I mean, the tubes were, I don't know, probably about $3 a tube now. Even like I got a lower price than that even, but I mean, you just can't beat it. 15 ml tubes. Anyway, I'm gushing about the paints, but I'm going in and I am deepening some of the shadows there under the watermelon because I didn't feel like I had enough contrast. So I just kind of wanted to push it a little bit more. I'm glad I didn't spend too much on this because I think I could have really overworked it easily. Especially I've noticed like if I'm doing a loose painting, if I tend to go too far on it, it looks really bad because when I'm working quickly, a lot of times I'm skimping on my drawing time. And so then when I have errors in my drawing, it really shows up the more detailed you get. So, if you are doing a loose painting, you can get by with just a quick, loose, fairly accurate sketch. But then if you want to get more detailed, then you start to see the cracks in the foundation because it's like, I didn't spend enough time on the drawing. But for this, I think it was just about right, just about the right amount of time spent. And I like the results. Now I did use a different Taklon brush here because I wanted to scrub out and I don't want to scrub with my new precious brushes. So I used an old Taklon to scrub out some of the watermelon rind where I didn't leave enough white there. The scrubbing out actually works really well because whenever you slice into a watermelon, you do have a little bit of a pink stain from the watermelon flesh and almost a little bit of a green stain from the rind. So scrubbing out for watermelon rind works really well. Gives you a really good natural look. And it's such a summery picture. You know, you got daisies growing in the backyard. You got watermelon from the grocery store or maybe in your garden. If you have a green thumb, I mean, gingham tablecloth. That's summer, man. That's summer. The ever fleeting summer. We got to appreciate it up here in this part of the world because it's short and, it's short. It's short and doesn't seem to come very often. I mean, I guess it does as often as any other season. Now, when I dry my paintings, I like to dry the back and the front of the page. It just makes sure I get all that moisture wicked out of there. It helps keep your paper flat and, it just, it will keep you from getting feathered lines because sometimes your paper's still damp, but it doesn't feel damp on the top, but water's soaked through. This is cotton paper. Cotton paper is more absorbent. So yeah, it doesn't hurt to take that heat tool. And that 20 minutes of painting time, I'm counting the drying time. That's all part of it. So, I mean, this was a really speedy painting. I'm doing another layer on the rind. I love the layering that I can get with these paints because they're so vibrant yet translucent and, they're just something, man. I really like them. They're much more translucent than their quote unquote professional range that's cheaper, which I said, not a bad paint, but these just rocked my world. I really liked how they came out. I love how this set did not come with a white or a black, so I mixed my own black. I used the ultramarine blue and the burnt umber and made my watermelon seeds with that. I've had so many sets of watercolors over the years come with a white and a black that I think I have enough white and black paint because I rarely use it to last me many, many lifetimes. So it's always refreshing when a set of colors comes with like all useful colors or pretty near all useful colors. So that was just another point in favor of this particular 32 set of watercolors. And I'm just kind of going through and seeing what needs adding. I added a little more blue to the vase to make it glow. I added a little more shadows to the daisies just to give them a little bit more distinction, a little bit of detail, a little line work with that purple. And, that was pretty much it. Just kind of puttering around with this and finishing it up. And like I said, start to finish was about 20 minutes on this, and it was loose and fun, and I highly recommend you give something like this a try. I'll have all the supplies linked down below, along with a reference photo, assuming I can find it. And I want to thank you so much for watching. Until next time, happy crafting.